Social housing in New Zealand has been neglected for decades. That's the finding of a Salvation Army report which says it's dysfunctional and struggling. That's despite housing reforms and new initiatives by the government. Renee Graham has more.
Farmer Crescent was once a mongrel mob stronghold, but the state houses here have since been demolished, making way for 150 new homes. Under this new government initiative, more than 2/3 will be sold to first-home buyers.
The rich people, it's always the rich people, and the average people will get it. The poor people, no, I don't think so.
The Salvation Army shares Shaz Wilson's concerns. They've just released a report criticising some of the government's social housing reforms.
What we're seeing is publicly funded gentrification, that the way to sort the social housing problem out is to get rid of the problem tenants, demolish their houses and bring in middle income people.
What we are wanting to do is to move away from those very concentrated state housing communities that have a history of serious community issues.
The report says successive governments have neglected social housing, leaving it in a dilapidated state with little funding. It says this government has done more than most, but it's still not enough.
It does need some radical reform and overhaul.
There's concern the government is expecting higher returns from Housing New Zealand when it needs that money to invest in its housing stock. The report says in 3 years the government has received $271 million in dividends and given back less than half of that in new capital.
There's a problem, I think, with saying, look, we want to radically restructure this organisation, but at the same time we're going to strip bigger dividends out of it because we need it for somewhere else.
The government says that's not the full picture.
The government has also committed $2.9 billion of capital to Housing New Zealand over 3 years to improve its stock and to fund projects.
The Salvation Army says a review must be done to avoid a deepening housing crisis. Renee Graham, One News.